Hey guys, welcome back, or welcome if you're new. My name's Bria and I love everything books. Today I thought it'd be fun to read books by popular authors that I've never read before. I have quite a few books on my shelves that are by such authors. So I picked out 4 books and 4 new authors that we're going to read today. Or actually over the course of a week, because this is probably going to take more than a week. Technically, I already started. The first book that I chose is Nantucket Nights by Hilderbrand. I actually have a lot of Hilderbrand's books, but I've never read any of them, so I figured I'd start with this one because it's a standalone and also it's pretty short. It's just over like 200 pages. And I actually already started this book a few days ago. I started reading it, I got about 25 pages in and DNF'd it. Kind of the same reason for why I DNF'd Magnolia Parks, if you watched that video. It's just, I don't know, I was expecting like a cozy beach read that was like wholesome, and this one isn't. Yeah, I could just tell by the first few chapters that I read that I just wasn't going to enjoy it, and I wasn't enjoying it for the first 2 chapters, so DNF, unfortunately. I will give Hilderbrand another try at some point. Now I can say I tried to read one of her books, so book 1, kinda check. On to book 2. The second book I chose I'm actually really excited for, and that is Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I have heard so many good things about this book. Literally everyone who reads it like loves it. I know there's probably some haters out there, but for the most part everyone really likes this book, and it's fantasy. I believe it's also YA, so yes, I'm really excited to get into this one. Honestly, I don't know too much other than there's like fairies and a prince, obviously, and yeah, I'm not even gonna read the back, so let's dive in. It has been a while since I've last talked to you. Let's see, I am on page 141. I am getting pretty far through this book. I'm almost halfway. I'm definitely really enjoying it. I feel like a lot of it's really just starting to happen like in the last few chapters, but basically it's following Jade, who is a human in a fairy world, and fairy cannot lie. So she is hired by one of the princes of the world to be his spy because she can lie her way out of stuff. Yeah, and so far it's really interesting. It definitely is. I feel like it reads very much like a YA versus like other fantasy series that I've loved are more like adult fantasy. Not that that's a bad thing, it's just like it hasn't given me a 5-star feeling yet. But also it's like the first book in a trilogy. So like usually the first book is always just like, you know, world building and like setting up the scene. And I definitely am really enjoying it. I'm definitely like pretty far through and also like thinking about it a lot. So good signs so far. I am really excited to see where the plot goes because there's definitely some political stuff happening. The current king of this whole kingdom is about to pass on the throne to one of his 6 kids. And so there's a lot of like spies and like political intrigue and all this stuff happening because people think they know who he's going to pick, but also like what if he doesn't pick that person? There's like potential murder plots. So definitely a lot happening, and I'm excited to see where this book goes. And then as for like Holly Black and her prose, because this is all about like new authors, I'm really enjoying it. Like I said, it is like more YA, so it's not anything like super fancy, but I definitely have started to tab a few things. Yeah, super interesting so far. Let's keep reading. Something crazy just happened. Oh my goodness. End of chapter 17. I am concerned. There are other humans in this fairy world. There's like 2 ways it can go. Either like you're human and you marry a fairy and then like you're considered like part of that world, or you're a servant and you're usually like there's a spell on you, so like you're just like you're not there and you're just following orders. And so Jude tried to save one of those servants. Let's just say it didn't end well. That's crazy. It's getting good. We're just about to hit the climax, but I think I'm gonna stop for the day. I might read a little bit later tonight, but I'm gonna watch a movie with my sister. We're watching Mockingjay, so that'll be fun. But yeah, this book is getting so much better. I'm really liking it. I'm quite not a 5-star yet, maybe, depending on how it wraps up, but definitely really good, and I'm excited to keep reading. It's the next day. I was gonna read, but my eyes are dilated. So everything is blurry. I don't know where I'm looking right now. And it usually takes like hours, if not like a full day, to clear up. So we might just have to finish The Cruel Prince tomorrow. I don't know. You'll know sooner than I do. So that sucks. I was planning on coming home after this doctor's appointment and reading, and I forgot that they were going to dilate my eyes. So that's fun. I'm finally back. My eyes work again. I can actually see. Honestly, it did not take that long for my eyes to turn back to normal yesterday, but it was late by the time I could actually fully see again, and then I watched Mockingjay Part 2 with my sister again, so. But now we're here, and this is taking me way longer than it should. This is my 4th day reading The Cruel Prince, and I am very behind on my reading challenge. I am 6 books behind. It's going great. Yeah, so I need to get to reading, and it's not that this book is bad at all, it's just been I've been so busy, and it's actually really intriguing, and I'm so excited to see where the rest of the series goes, and also how this book ends. Let's see, how far are we in? I am on page 224, and there are, oh, that's perfect, 370 pages, so just about 150 pages left. I don't know, what is that, a little over 2 hours of reading? I genuinely don't know how fast I read. Something like that, I don't know. So I think I'm just gonna sit down and finish this whole thing. I don't know if I updated you on the plot. Let me see, I gotta remind myself. We got some backstory. Trying to do this without spoilers. Yeah, pretty much we're just like about to get to the climax. There's a lot of, I think I kind of explained it a little bit earlier, but there's all this like political stuff going on with the coronation is about to happen. I think like the current day we're in right now, or the next one, very soon. So we're going to find out who the king chooses to be his successor. We're pretty sure it's this one person, but like who knows? It could be plot twist and be someone else. And there's like lots of spying going on. Our main character is one of the spies. And there's like a previous murder that happened that we're trying to figure out like what that connection is to this whole thing. It's super intriguing. So far not quite 5-star, but like again, who knows? Anything can happen in the last 150 pages of a book. The coronation is happening and it's not going well. I'm concerned. Okay. Spoilers for The Cruel Prince. Skip this if you don't want to see it, but almost the entire royal family is dead. The king denounced his position as king, and right before Dane was supposed to be crowned king, of course Baelkin stepped in and tried to take the crown, and then he proceeded to kill his sister, and then other people killed another sister, and then he killed the king, and the queen is also dead. So okay, so there's the king and the queen, and then 6 kids. King and the queen are dead. Dane is dead. The 3 sisters are dead. So all that's left is Baelkin, who tried to take the throne, and then Cardan, who is the stupid prince that has been bullying Jude this entire time. Yeah, so now there's no king, and Baelkin has 3 days to obtain the crown, because he has to be crowned by someone of his bloodline, which would be Cardan, because it's the only one left. So either Cardan crowns Baelkin, which I'm guessing he doesn't want to. I don't know what his thoughts on this are right now. But either Baelkin is king, or there's no king, and then it just goes into anarchy. So I don't know what's gonna happen. And now book 2. Yeah, I thought I knew what was gonna happen. I did not expect almost all of the royal family to be killed in the span of like 10 minutes, less than that. So yeah, let's keep reading. the twist got me. That was such a good ending. And it perfectly sets up for the next book, which is The Wicked King. That's a perfect title. Oh my goodness. Because he really is a cruel prince, and now he's probably going to be a wicked king. That's as much as I can say without giving spoilers. Before the spoilers, again, skip if you don't want to hear it, but Jude had a plan to put her brother Oak on the throne, but he's too little, so she was going to just like kind of wait it out until he's old enough to be put on the throne. And it was like the whole plan was like kind of sketchy, and I'm like, how are you going to do that? And she tricks Cardin into being crowned king, because he does not want that. He's under her spell for like a year, so she has a year to convince him to follow through with this new plan until her brother could be crowned king. And so I'm guessing that's what the next book is going to be about. Anyways, back to spoiler free. This book was so good. I feel like it kind of took me a while to get into it, but this last section that I just read right now was so good, and the twist, my jaw was on the floor. I should have seen it coming. I'm getting a little hint of enemies to lovers. Hopefully that comes later in the next book. But Holly Black, her writing is so good. I'm so excited to keep reading the trilogy, and then there's other books too. There's How the King of Elfheim Learned to Hate Stories, and then there's also The Stolen Heir. I'm actually not really sure how the series works. I know that there's a trilogy and then there's other books, so I'll have to look into that. Final thoughts? I think I'm giving this a 5-star. It's, I feel like, a perfect setup for the rest of the series, which those are probably gonna be like hands down 5 stars. But this one was really, really good. I feel like once I got into it, I was really intrigued and I didn't really know what was happening, but also that's kind of the point. Yeah, the world is super interesting about like how the Fae can't lie, but you know, they can still be like really deceptive. And so like having humans that lie to spy for the Fae, that was super interesting. I knew I would love this book. So yeah, on to the next new author. This is the next book I have. This is a book that I've wanted to read for so long. I've had so many people recommend it to me, and it has been on my TBR for quite a while. And that is Redeeming Love by Francine Rivers. This is basically a retelling of the book of Hosea in the Bible, and that's all I know. It's like it's set in California, 1850. So it's like a historical fiction based on the biblical story of Hosea. And I've heard that this book is so good, and I've never... Wait, that's a lie. Okay, that's really funny. I've actually read Leota's Garden by Francine Rivers. I totally forgot that I read that, or that was by her, until right now. So this really isn't a new author for me. I've actually read one of her books. We're just gonna still keep this in. We're gonna say it counts. That's really funny. That was the one job that I had for this video, was to pick new authors, and I've already read a book by her. But anyways, I'm excited for this book. It's pretty big. It's like, yeah, it's like over 450 pages. So if Cruel Prince took me 4 days, this is probably gonna take me about the same, if not more. But yeah, I'm really excited about this. This is definitely a potential 5-star. That'd be crazy if all these books for this video are 5 stars. It's very possible. But yeah, that's all I really know about Redeeming Love. Yeah, I'm excited to get into it. It's a few days later. It's been a few days because I loved The Cruel Prince so much that I actually paused reading for this video and went and read the entire Cruel Prince trilogy. They're actually up here now. I don't know if you can see that far up in the camera, but 5-star series. I freaking love that series so much. The first book I was like a little, I gave it 5 stars, but it was like, it's maybe like a 4.75, but the rest of them 5 stars. Such a good series. But anyways, I cranked out reading those, and so now I am back to reading for the video. So I'm reading Redeeming Love by Francine Rivers. I talked about this a little bit last time, I think. I don't know, it's been a few days. But I sat down and read the prologue, which, did I not put a bookmark? I don't know, I didn't put a bookmark in it. But the prologue was like 44 pages. So these chapters are very long. But man, this story is already so sad, and I knew it would be because Like I said before, it's a retelling of the book of Hosea, which is such a sad story to begin with. It's set in like the mid 1800s, and it follows this girl named Angel, and the prologue is basically her story of growing up. But yeah, so the prologue was Angel's like upbringing, and it's not very good. She was sold into prostitution at age 8, and yeah, her life sucks, honestly, up until now. And so I'm guessing chapter 1 is going to start like in her adult life and continuing her story on from there. Wow, this book is sad. I can't believe that stuff like this actually happens to people. It's so heartbreaking, and yeah, I just know this book is going to be so good, because if you don't know the plot of Hosea, or I guess not really a plot because like it actually happened, but the book of Hosea in the Bible is the prophet Hosea, and God like commands him to marry a prostitute and to be faithful to her in marriage. And it's a picture of how God is faithful to us even though we are never faithful to him. And it's just this beautiful picture of, yeah, God's love for us, and that's represented in Hosea's relationship with his unfaithful wife. And so this is the modern retelling of that. So we haven't met the character for Hosea yet, but yeah, this book is gonna be heavy. There's definitely already trigger warnings and stuff, but it's probably gonna be incredible. I've had so many friends recommend this book to me. This story is gonna be really powerful, but really hard to get through, I'm sure, because that first 40 pages was rough. I don't think it's gonna be like a fun read like Cruel Prince. Like that was just a fun little like YA. This is definitely a lot deeper and harder, but it talks about a lot of really good lessons. So, or at least I'm assuming so. I haven't even really started. I just read the prologue. But yeah, let's continue reading. Okay, I'm I think 5 chapters in, 94 pages already. That's crazy. That's actually almost a quarter of the way through the book. That's wild. This is going by really fast. So far, this book is, I don't even know how to say it, like, I think it's really fascinating and I'm intrigued, but it's definitely really hard to read. Yeah, there's a lot of really traumatic stuff that happens to Angel, the main character. She finally met Michael Hosea, who is obviously the guy that's Hosea, and the way that Francine Rivers portrays Michael is, I think, really beautiful. God has called Michael to pursue Angel and to marry her, and she's not receiving that well because, I mean, you could imagine she has so many trust issues from everything that's been done to her, but Michael is just so gentle and persistent and just really loving. Francine Rivers is also really good about making him seem actually human, because I feel like in this story it would have been really easy to write him as like the perfect man who never thinks anything wrong, but like, it's clear that like, you know, his fleshly desires are still there and he's struggling against that. And so I think it's really faithful to, so far at least, it's been really faithful to the story of Hosea and how I can imagine it would have been. And yeah, so far Michael has just been really gentle and sweet and like showing unconditional love, and Angel has been just completely resisting it because trust issues and she can't trust any men. And yeah, it's just this heartbreaking story, and I think it's really beautiful to see the story of Hosea in like a novel format, because I've read the book of Hosea multiple times and it definitely is really powerful. I mean, it's scripture, so it's, of course it's going to be powerful, but seeing it more in like a modern storytelling, even though it's 1850s, but like in a modern like novel format, it's really powerful to see the story play out and just see the parallels of like God's love for us and the condition of humanity. And it's really, really sad, and it's also really, really beautiful. I mean, I'm a quarter of the way through and it's definitely already really impressed me. And again, this is a hard book to read. It might get easier as it goes on, I don't know, but just like with all the topics and stuff that happens in the story, definitely read trigger warnings. But yeah, I'm definitely excited to see where the story goes. I mean, I kind of know the plot because I've read the book of Hosea, but yeah, I don't know. Francine Rivers so far has done a really good job of staying faithful to the story. And yeah, my heart just breaks for Angel. That's all the thoughts I have for now. Oh, and also, this is dual POV. Some of the chapters are from Angel's perspective and then some are from Michael's, which I think is really interesting. So you get to see both sides. I think that's really cool. So far, really, really good, but definitely not a light read whatsoever. Yeah, really love Francine Rivers' prose so far too. I haven't gotten bored with reading this yet, and I'm like 100 pages in, literally just in one sitting, so that's going pretty well. Also, I feel like I wore the perfect outfit for this. Like, my skirt is like I feel like this is really giving 1850s. I don't know if you can even see that. There we go. But like, I feel like I'm really giving 1850s in this outfit. Maybe not with the bodysuit, but like the skirt. I feel like I kind of fit the vibe. This book is so sad. Oh my goodness. I'm 18 chapters in, over halfway now, and it's so sad. Literally every chapter, I think it can't get worse, and we're getting like flashbacks of stuff that have happened, and it's so heartbreaking that stuff like this happens, and reading this story is just so sad, but like it's even sadder that this is some people's reality. Like, some people live through this, and it breaks my heart. Literally, this whole thing is just so sad, but it's also such a beautiful depiction of like God's love, literally redeeming love, of like how God's love redeems us. But like, man, this is a tough book. Oh my gosh. I'm at the end of chapter 29. Something wild just happened. Somebody showed up that I predicted was going to show up very early on in the book, and I kind of forgot that I had predicted that, and sure enough, he is here, and I am scared for what is going to happen next. This book, oh my gosh, I have maybe like 70-80 pages left, so we're definitely going to finish today. But there's been so many things that have happened where I have to like put the book down and just like process it. Like, the amount of sad things that happen in this book, I don't know if you can hear that, but there's music in the background, sorry about that. Anyways, some of the things that have happened in this book are so traumatic and horrible, and it's not just like one traumatic thing, it's just one after another, and it's so heartbreaking, and I have nearly cried multiple times. Oh my goodness. Well, I guess let's see what happens, and I'll probably update you with my final thoughts at the end of the book. And with that, I have finished Redeeming Love. I just finished it like a minute ago, and I'm honestly still processing it. Oh my goodness. I guess first off, 5 stars. This book is so good. Oh my goodness. Francine Rivers did an incredible job at writing this. I guess, like I said earlier, do look up trigger warnings if you do want to read this. There is some heavy topics in here, and it's also not a clean book either. But the way that it's presented and written is so beautiful and godly. It's so good. It's in the same way that like the Bible is not clean, like it's not a PG book. There's stuff in the Bible that's very disturbing, and yeah. So I guess it's kind of the same way like that. Or like the Bible is not a PG book, and this isn't either. But I would definitely recommend this to any Christian woman, or I guess Christian guy either. Man, Redeeming Love is the perfect title for this. Francine Rivers did an incredible job of showing God's love and showing humanity's sinful nature, but also Christians showing God's love through them, and how we are imperfectly showing perfect love. It's just so good. You have to read it. It's definitely a hard read. I nearly cried multiple times. It was convicting in ways, encouraging in others. If you're a Christian, read this. It's so good. I mean, obviously read the Bible too, like read the book of Hosea. But man, this is a beautiful rendition of the story of Hosea. It's so good. Yeah, I think my favorite thing about it really was how Francine Rivers, in the character of Michael Hosea, was able to have Michael show God's love, but also like in his mind you would be able to like see his thought process and still see how he was able to show God's love to Angel, even though he himself was not perfect and he messed up. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about this book. It's just I'm still like trying to process it. Oh my goodness. And it's also realistic. The whole time you're just wanting Angel to just stop what she's doing and leave all the sin that she's participating in. But that's not the way that humans work. We're so just stuck in our ways. Yeah, I mean, I feel like this book could have been wrapped up like pretty quickly, but also that's not realistic. Like, us as humans are so stupid and continue to sin even when like deep down we know it's not fulfilling. I think Francine Rivers is just really faithful to the human condition and also just God's mercy and love despite that. So yeah, so glad I finally read this. I've had so many people recommend it to me and say it's such a good book, and now I know what they're talking about. Oh, it was so beautiful. And like the way marriage is portrayed in this book too. Obviously there's so many horrible things that happen, but then seeing how beautiful marriage is supposed to be and how God created that and how it's supposed to play out. Yeah, I feel like I'm just rambling at this point, but yeah, highly recommend Redeeming Love. Just look at trigger warnings first, maybe. Yeah, Francine Rivers is such a great author, even though I kind of lied and I actually have read one of her books before. I think I said that when I was introducing this book, but for the sake of this video, we're gonna just pretend she's a new author. And also her prose is so beautiful. I really feel like when I was reading this, I felt like I was in California in the 1850s. 1850s. Literally just right now, I sat down and read 150 pages maybe in just one sitting and just finished it. Yeah, Francine Rivers is so cool. I'm so excited to keep reading some of her books. I doubt you can see them on the bookshelf over there, but I have The Lady's Mine and also A Lineage of Grace. So I'll read those at some point because the first book I read of hers was a 4-star and then this one 5-star. Yeah, so glad I read this. 5 stars. While we're here, I'll introduce you to the final book and final author of this video. This is another really popular author, and this is currently like the most popular book of hers right now. I've seen so many people reading this book and sobbing their eyes out, so I'm prepared to be extremely sad about what happens in this book, which after this book I'm going to need to read a palate cleanser because Redeeming Love was a tough read, and now this next book is also going to be a really tough read, so we'll have to read something fun and fluffy after this. But without further ado, The Nightingale by Kristin Hannah. I've heard so many good things about Kristin Hannah, and I have a few of her books. I don't know where they are. Oh yeah, I have Homefront by her. But I figured we'd start with The Nightingale because I had never heard of the Homefront. I just thrifted that one. But I've heard so many things about The Nightingale, so I'm definitely really excited to read it. I believe it's a World War II historical fiction. It looks like it's set in France, 1939. Yeah, honestly, I don't know much other than that. I just know that people sobbed their eyes out to this book. So I'm preparing myself for emotional damage. But yeah, I've never read a Kristin Hannah book, so I figured this one would be the perfect start. I'm probably not going to start it today, though, because I've already read like 150 pages today. But I figured I'd just hop on, because I was already filming. I would show you what book I'm reading next. This cover's so pretty. There's like rain droplets on it. It's so pretty. And the Barnes & Noble special edition, I don't know if you've seen it. I'll pop up a picture, but the sprayed edges are gorgeous. It's literally so pretty. I mean, this cover's pretty too. But yeah, I'll see you whenever I see you next. Hey guys, it's the next day. It is so cozy outside. It's literally 77 degrees in June in Arizona. Like, this never happens. It's raining. I would totally be reading outside, but it is raining, so I can't really read a book outside because it would get wet. But I started reading The Nightingale. I'm, I think, 3 chapters in? Yeah, only 3 chapters in, so like 20 pages. I'm really enjoying Kristin Hannah's prose so far. It's really pretty. There was one scene in which they were in this little small French town in the countryside, and the way she just described it was so pretty. Like, I could just, like, literally see it in my mind. Definitely really enjoying her prose so far. We're just barely getting into the plot. Not too much has happened. I mean, I'm like 20 pages in. But yeah, so far so good. I feel like today is the perfect day to be reading this because I've heard this book is absolutely heartbreaking, and it's just so cold and chilly outside, and it just feels like the perfect vibe. I'm not sure how much I'll get done reading today, but I think this is like a 400-page book. Yeah, it looks like just over 400 pages, like 420 something. So, long way to go, but so far really enjoying it. So far, Kristin Hannah is a pretty good author. I don't know, I have to read the book. And it's funny because literally today I just got another Kristin Hannah book. I went book thrifting again. Only got 2 books though. It's fine. I got Firefly Lane by Kristin Hannah. I just had to get it because I want to read more of her books. It's kind of funny, the 2 books I got actually, because I got Firefly Lane by Kristin Hannah, and then I got a copy of Redeeming Love, which is really funny because I just finished that yesterday. But it was a really pretty copy, so of course I got it. I love finding my 5-star books at thrift stores and thrifting them for a few bucks, and then I give them to my friends to read. That's like one of my favorite gifts to do, because like I know what books my friends will love, and so of course I'm gonna grab them. Anyways, I feel like I'm just kind of rambling at this point. But yeah, that's the update. Started The Nightingale. So far it's kind of reminding me of The Room, what is it called? The Room on Rue Amelie. Yeah, The Room on The Room on Rue Amelie, which is right there. I don't know if you can see it. But that's another book that I gave 5 stars, and so it's on my 5-star bookshelf. But that's another World War II historical fiction in France. So this is also World War II historical fiction in France. So I'm curious to see how similar and different they are. That one was in Paris, like in a big city, versus this one is in a small town in the countryside. At least so far. We're only 20 pages in. But yeah, let me stop talking and get back to reading. Hey guys! It's, I think, the next day. Yeah, the next day. It's so gorgeous out because it rained yesterday. It's like windy and it's probably like 75 degrees out. Like, I'm loving the weather so much. So of course we came to Starbucks. I think this is vanilla cold brew, I think is what I ordered. I don't know. This is what I got last time when I was reading, what was I reading? A Man Called Uva, when I went to Starbucks like last month. Well, it was a long time ago. Anyways, let's see how it is. Not bad. I feel like the one that I got last time was better, but coffee's coffee. Oh, I just got my book wet. Yay. Anyways, I'm so glad there's nobody sitting outside because I feel like I can actually talk to you. There's tons of people inside, and there's also some guy parked right there, so I just like had to pretend to be busy for like 2 minutes while I waited for him to leave so that I could film. Okay, anyways, we're gonna keep reading The Nightingale. I did not read anything since when I last talked to you. Yeah, I only got through 3 chapters, and I'm not in the story quite yet. Probably because when I started this book, there was like people talking and just noise and distractions. But here, there's just the white noise of cars driving by and the wind, and it's so pretty out. So I'm just gonna sit here and probably read for like half an hour, maybe an hour. We'll see how far I get, depending on, I guess, how interested I am in the story. I thought someone was opening the door and I got scared. Okay. I need to get over this fear of filming in public. It's fine. People do this all the time. Anyways, I'm yapping too much. I need to do what I came here to do, which is read. So let's get into it. I've been here for over an hour, which is crazy. Time flew by. I'm already forgetting. I finished chapter 8, so I read 5 more chapters. Getting farther. Probably like maybe a quarter of the way through. Actually, it's like 400 pages, so I got to page 85. So almost a quarter of the way there. Not actually. Well, yeah, if I read another chapter, I'll be like a quarter of the way there. But I'm definitely more in the story now. It's definitely getting interesting. I feel like we're still in a lot of like the world building. I don't know if world building is the right term for this, because it's not really like a fantasy novel. It's historical fiction. But I think we're introduced to all of like the main characters so far and just kind of setting the scene for what's going to happen. Basically, so far the Nazis have, what is the word? Occupied. So far the Nazis have occupied Paris, and then now this little town that these two sisters are in. I don't think I've talked about the main characters yet. There's these two sisters, and I'm forgetting their names. One of them goes by Vianne, I think. Yeah, Vianne, and then Isabel. Yeah, Isabel. So basically it's just following the two sisters, and they're very different and reacting very differently to the war. It's getting a little warm, so I'm gonna pack up and we're gonna head home. I read so much yesterday. I read nearly 250 pages. That's crazy. And I put the dust jacket back on because when I was reading this book, I realized that The Nightingale is so similar to a book that I read earlier this year, which is The Room on Rue Amelie. And the similarities between these two books is crazy. First off, the covers are really similar. They both have the Eiffel Tower and like a dark blue. And then they're also both by an author by the name of Kristin, spelled the same way, which is crazy. Actually, Kristin H too. Kristin H.A. We have Kristin Harmel and then Kristin Hannah. The similarities are wild. So basically, both of them follow a girl who lives in Paris during the occupation, during World War II. Somebody close to her is part of like the rebels like against Germany, but she is looked down upon because she's a woman. But she still finds her way to participate in the war however she can, and ends up saving British pilots, like I think it's the RAF, Royal Air Force, anyone who's like shot out of the sky. And she helps them cross over the Pyrenees into Spain so that they can go back to Britain and help with the war. That's what both of these books are about. They're so similar. And also the way they started too. Both of these books start with the first chapter in present day, like 1990s, 2000, somewhere around there, where some mystery character is like reflecting back on their life, and then you go into the actual story in World War II. They're so similar. It's actually crazy. Actually, on the back of The Room on Rue Amelie, it says it's reminiscent of The Nightingale. So I kind of wish I read The Nightingale first because it did come out first. But like I can't help comparing The Nightingale now to The Room on Rue Amelie because I read this one first. They're literally so similar. It's crazy. So I'm curious to see, because this one was a 5-star for me. So I'm curious how The Nightingale is going to turn out. I mean, considering I read nearly 250 pages yesterday, I'd say it's going pretty well. But I don't have quite the same connection to the characters as I did in The Room on Rue Amelie. It's just really funny how similar these books are, and the fact that both of them are by Kristin. Like, that's crazy. I can put that away now. We'll talk about the book I'm actually reading, The Nightingale. I'm definitely really enjoying it so far. There are a lot of characters involved, so I feel like when I was first getting into it, I was like just trying to keep straight who was who. But like now, there's a clear plot, and like I'm following what's happening. Something really, really sad just happened, and I can't say what it is without spoiling it, but oh, it broke my heart. I had to like stop reading last night, and that's kind of where I ended. I think actually, did I stop right after that? Yeah, chapter 22. That broke my heart. But anyways, we're about over halfway through actually. I don't know if you can see that. But it's really interesting. We're following, I guess that's the main difference between The Room on Rue Amelie and this one, is this one's following two sisters. And that dynamic's been really interesting, seeing how the two sisters respond to the war differently. The older sister in the story, there's a really interesting dynamic there where she's in the small town and there's a bunch of German soldiers that come in, and one of them is stationed to like live in her house. So she has a Nazi soldier living under her roof, and their dynamic is really interesting. Neither of them really want to be in that situation. They're both far away from loved ones in the middle of a war, so I thought that was really interesting. But yeah, let's get this book finished.
And with that, I'm done with The Nightingale. This was a solid book. I ended up giving it 4 stars. I don't know, I can't help but compare it to The Rouen Rue Amelie, which I gave 5 stars. I think I like that story slightly better. But overall, this was a really solid story. Honestly, I feel like it should have been called The Nightingales. But also that might have been like a little bit of... Not really, actually. I don't know. I think it would have been also cool if it was called The Nightingales. I think I didn't give it 5 stars just honestly because I thought The Rouen Rue Amelie was better. This definitely was a good story, but I feel like the pacing was a little weird, especially at the end. Like last night, I actually wasn't planning on finishing the book, but I stayed up until almost 1 to finish because I had like 30 pages left. But when I had those 30 pages left, I was so confused as to how the book was going to wrap up. Not because there was like crazy stuff happening, but that the story was just still going, and I'm like, how is this gonna end, you know? The last chapter was really sad. We finished with, again, being present day and finally figuring out which of the sisters was like the mystery person that we started off the book with, and that last chapter was really sad. But also, like, there were some reunions that were happy, but also reveals of people who did not make it. Yeah, I feel like the ending could have used a little bit more. I'm not sure. I don't know, just like the timing and pacing was a little weird, and I think that's why it wasn't quite a 5 star. It was a really beautiful and heartbreaking story, though, and I definitely, if you love like World War II historical fiction, definitely read this. It's really good, but it just wasn't quite a 5 star. But as for Kristin Hannah, I loved her writing. It was really good and descriptive. I feel like I really got lost in the story, like in the descriptions of the story, not necessarily like the plot. I feel like the plot could have, I don't know, it was lacking something. It didn't have that like 5 star quality. But like Kristin Hannah's prose was really pretty, and there were definitely scenes where like I really felt like I was there, which some of those scenes you do not want to feel like you're actually there. I don't really know what I'm saying. Basically, her prose is really pretty, and I love it, and I will definitely be reading more of her books. I know, like, I think it's The Woman and The Four Winds are 2 books of hers that are really popular right now. I don't have either of those. I do have Firefly Lane and Homefront, so I'll probably read those at some point. Yeah, Kristin Hannah's a really good author. This was definitely a solid read. And I read it in like 3 days, which is crazy considering it's like almost 450 pages. Yeah. I think another reason it wasn't 5 stars is because of the expectations I had for this book. Because everybody who's reading it was saying they like sobbed the whole time, and it was absolutely heartbreaking. And don't get me wrong, like it is. There were a few scenes in here where like I was like, what do you mean like that happened? And then also, like, these things actually happened in real life. Not, like, with these characters, but, like, World War II happened. So it definitely was a sad book, but I was expecting other levels of sad, and it just wasn't that. It was more just a story about 2 sisters, which was really beautiful. I don't know, I guess I just had the wrong expectation for it. But anyways, 4 stars. Solid read. I would definitely recommend it. And with that, I've read 3 new authors. Kind of 4. Because I did start with Nantucket Nights by Elin Hilderbrand, which was a DNF, but that's a new author. So unfortunately, the first author was a DNF. And then Holly Black with The Cruel Prince, or the Folk of the Air trilogy. 5 stars. This is so good. I love the series so much. I will definitely be reading more Holly Black, like all of Holly Black. I want to start with the Stolen Air duology, because that's still in this universe. But I just love her writing. It's so, like, whimsical, but also, like, dangerous. And, yeah, it's so good. So I'm so happy that I started reading her. And then Francine Rivers with Redeeming Love, which is kind of not a new author because I totally forgot that I'd already read one of her books before. But we're going to forget that for the purpose of this video. Francine Rivers. This book, again, 5 stars. It was so good. A different kind of 5 star than The Cruel Prince. The Cruel Prince was, like, a fun 5 star. This was a heartbreaking and sad, but also, like, beautiful at the same time 5 star. But again, Francine Rivers' prose is really pretty. It's a different kind of pretty. Like, where The Cruel Prince was, like, fantasy pretty, this is more, like, literary fiction pretty, and, like, historical fiction. But excited to read more of her books. And then last but not least, Kristin Hannah with The Nightingale. I will definitely be reading more Kristin Hannah. I feel like I really, like, once I got past the first, like, 3-4 chapters, I was in the story and, like, did not put it down. Like, I read 250 pages in 1 day. Yeah. I'm so glad I did this video. I unlocked so many new authors. Literally found a 5 star series, a 5 star standalone. and then a solid 4-star historical fiction, and a DNF, but we're not going to talk about that. We're just going to pretend that did not exist. But this turned out so good. I'm really liking the style of vlog. Like, these books have nothing in common other than, like, the new author thing. So I have a few ideas for videos like this where I can just kind of pick the books I want, or even, like, stretch myself out of my comfort zone and read books that I normally wouldn't read. So the next reading vlog I have coming is something similar, where I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to spoil it, but I have some ideas up my sleeve. So this was really fun. I'm so glad I did this. I mean, I've been wanting to read all of these books for a while now, and I'm so glad I did. Yeah, let me know if you've read these books. I want to hear your thoughts in the comments. Or maybe give me some recommendations based off of these books. Anyways, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.